Hello there, my name is Yesmouse and welcome to my channel. So the new AirPod Pro has been released and I thought since it's going to be very expensive, let's just make one ourselves. So yeah, let's dive in and get started on it. So if you want the reference images that I'm going to be using here, you can go directly to my website, blender1on1.com, and you can, I'll be leaving a link that goes directly to this website in the description of the video so that you can download the reference images that I'll be using here. So this is going to be a tutorial series covering different parts of the modeling because you can see I want to keep it to make it a very detailed tutorial where I do everything that is on this Mac Pro. So let's get in, and so if you want the reference images, you can find the link in the description. It will take you to this website where you can download those reference images. So let's dive in and get started. Let me switch on my screen keys here. Okay, my plugin is not active for some reason. Let me make sure that I have that enabled, and edit preferences, add-ons. Called shortcut. Okay, so it is showing an error here. Anyway, I'll be explaining what keys I'm using here. So let's start by making the top part. As you can see, I've set up this in a way that when I go to the top mode, I can see the top part of the laptop. Sorry, the MacBook Pro, the Mac Pro, and if I go to the front side, I'm able to see this side, but I think this is supposed to be flipped around so that I have the button this time, the power button facing this side. So I'll rotate this 190 degrees, and I also make sure that I've not messed up my alignment. So you can just drag the reference image directly into your scene so that you have it as an image empty. And if you go to the image settings here, you can turn on alpha and then reduce its transparency so that we can align these more correctly. I'll rotate this 90 degrees so that I can see. I need it to be aligned. I'm just looking at the edges here, make sure that's aligned, and then I can rotate it back 90 degrees. Yeah, so that when I go to the top view, I see this image, and in the front view, I see this image. So let me start by making this top side. So I'll add a plane. And since this uses, as you can see, we have some symmetry on this image or on this device. We can use that to our advantage and make use of the mirror modifier to model the other parts. So let's scale this down to fit. Also, let me make sure that it's above the reference image. Why am I not seeing this? Okay, so around there. I'll switch on random keys. What else? So, okay, after aligning that correctly, maybe let me move this a bit. The problem is that my background is also, the background of the image is white, so it's hard to tell where the edges are. So I think that's somewhere like there. And now I can go to edit mode. I hit tab to do that, then add a loop there, a loop in the middle. Make sure that I can see this correctly, and I can delete the vertices on this side and the vertices on this side. Now we can use. Okay, you also need to add another loop here for the middle, for this x-axis symmetry. So I can delete these vertices, go to the modifiers, add a mirror modifier to this. You can see what we have. Now I can select this. Now let me reduce the opacity of this because it's making it harder for me to see through. So just select this edge, and because we have the mirror modifier, whatever I do here will be duplicated on the other sides of the mirror. So I just need to extrude this. Also make sure that the mirror modifier has the X and Y axis enabled so that we can mirror this in the X and Y axis. So I just need to push these edges to the end around there. And now To round off this corner, I just select this corner vertex and hit Ctrl Shift B to bevel that into a curve. Right now we don't have a lot of resolution to give us the curve we're looking for, so you can use your middle mouse wheel to add more resolution like that. If you see that it's kind of not giving you a nice rounded corner like this, make sure you apply the scale of the object before you do the bevel. So let's do this again, and you can see now the curve is better. So I think around there, and let's make sure that this top side is also matching up, and I think that's good. So now let's add in this kind of inset. Let me also bring in some other reference images so that I can easily see what's going on here. So you can bring in this, and I also have the Apple website here just to see the details that I may miss. So that portion is just where the handles kind of protrude from. So let's see how we can approach this. I think we can start by, let's add a circle around here. Shift A, circle. Because we have the mirror modifier, it's creating two on the other side of the mirror. Let's go through the circle options here. I'll reduce the radius thing until you see that the circle touches the top side like that. You can also move this a bit, and let me undo let me add the circle back, move this in the x-axis so that this top part is kind of touching that horizontal line there. So I don't need all this resolution, all this number of vertices. So let me try 16 vertices and see, because the more vertices you have, the more it's going to be difficult for you to kind of connect them on other parts of the mesh. So let's see, let's try 20, something like that. Let's see how this would go. I'll move this, and I think it fits perfectly. So I don't need this anymore, so I can just select this, push them. Now I can turn on the clip. I can turn on clipping here in the modifiers, so that the vertices don't cross to the other side of the mirror. So like that. Now we just need to delete this face and then bridge it or connect it to this here. So you can select the face and hit X on your keyboard and then delete only faces, so that we retain the vertices or this edge loop, and so that we can bridge it at this edge loop. So I can select this and this, hit F to bridge that, and maybe I need a loop around here and do the same. So I will move this so that this is a straight line here. Yeah, something like that. And let's see, now we can start. Let's see how many vertices we have here. So we have where is that information? Okay, we have 11 vertices selected, and we have only, let's see, we have 10 vertices selected here. So they have 10 here, they are 11 here. So if we try bridging this, it will not give us the results we want, but let's try it anyways. But I think the easiest way to do this, let's try it this way. Select the entire ring around, that goes around like this, and hit F to turn it into a single face n-gon, like this. And now we can insert this by hitting I, and now we just need to connect these edges like so. So let's first connect the ones that are directly opposite to each other. I think we can move this just a bit so that we can connect it like that. Some of these I will just connect them into triangles like that, or maybe can maintain them as chords. Let's see if we connect this to this, or maybe this to this, like this, and then dissolve this middle vertex edge like that. So to dissolve an edge, you just hit Ctrl X when you have that edge selected. So let's do the same for this. I think I can connect this here like that. And for this here, I want this loop to go all the way around the entire object. So I'll just, let's see, if I add a loop here, I can connect these to that and dissolve these two edges, extra edges. I can also connect another loop here, and this time let me just merge this. So to merge a vertex to another vertex, you just select both of them and then use the shortcut Alt M and then merge to last. I also need to remove that. Maybe for this here, I can just do this and change this into a chord and this to a chord, and basically this is what we have now. I think we can connect this directly to this here, so we have something like that, or this to this. I will also need this loop to go all the way to this side, so I will do the same here. Connect this to this. That means we need to dissolve this edge like that. And for this here, we want this loop to go all the way to this side, so I can add a loop here. Then I can use that to bridge this to this here. So I'll merge those like that. Now we have, so I have an extra edge here, so I can delete that edge. And then we have this portion done. So I couldn't find any reference images for this where I can see this at an angle to see how the impressions here are done, but I'll just try to predict how it's done here. So the easiest way I found to make this kind of a shape here is select the entire loop that makes up this hole here, hit F to bridge it into a face so that we have something like this, and we are going to just insert and extrude different parts. But the problem is that because we have the mirror modifier turned on, we end up with this kind of extra face every time we insert or extrude. So for that, I'm just going to apply the mirror modifier for now, and now so that we have a single face or end going to work with, and now I can extrude it. So because I also have this side selected, for now let me just delete this top side and deal only with this here. So I'll select this face or this end gun. Let me make sure I can select that. So you can see it goes in a bit. I think it's also a separated element from the rest of the mesh. So okay, so what I'm going to do, let me insert this. You just use the shortcut I to do that up to this edge loop here, after that up to that ring there, and then we also need this second ring here, so I will insert that again, and yeah, I think that's it. Now we just need let me see, because we need this kind of cut here. Oh, I think it's on this side here, so let's straighten this up a bit and make sure that we are able to make a straight cut from here to there, like we see in the reference image. But that we'll do a bit later when we try to add this kind of like seam that goes around the entire thing. So let's add this impression here. So I'll just first add a supporting loop around there, and let me change my angle a bit so that you can see what I'm doing. Now if I extrude this down just a bit like that, we get the same loop there. And let me see, what else do we need? Make sure okay, so this handle is cylindrical, so we need to add a hole for that to go in. So make sure you're saving your projects. I'll just call this Mac Pro. So let's see. So we can just create the same shape from this circular shape from this edge loop here. So you can select the first vertex there, hold on Control and select the last vertex here to select a path from here to here. Then I can duplicate this, Shift D, or instead of doing that, just to make sure that I get the perfect circle, I'll select this and this, then Shift S, cursor to selected, so that I have my 3D cursor here, and then add the same circle. So since this was the last circle we added, I should have the same settings that we used previously. So Shift A to add a circle, and it should have 20 vertices as we had before, and I can scale this in to the size of our handle here, and I can select this n-gon, delete that because I need to bridge these vertices to this, and they should be the same. They should amount this to the same number of vertices or edges, since we use the same settings when adding them. So if I select from here, and here you can see that we have selected 11 verts. So if I select from here to there, it should also be the same number. So that will make it very easy for us to bridge the two. So right click and bridge edge loops. That gives us a perfect bridge like so. So then we're still left with this part here. So I can select this here, turn it into a face, and see how I can handle the rest of it. I think we can maybe, let me see. Before we do that, because I want a ring that goes around all the way here, maybe let's just insert this. You know what? No, actually, let's select this edge loop here. Make sure that your cursor is still in the center. If it's not, select this entire ring, and then Shift S, cursor to select something like that to bring it back to the center. And then select these outer vertices. Then hit full stop, or navigate to these icons here to change your pivot point to 3D cursor, and you can hit E to extrude, and then S to scale this out. And now we can delete this n-gon and start and bridge these vertices. This will leave us with a complete ring around that circle that we need in case we want to add supporting rings for this shape. So I don't want all these vertices to extend all the way here, so we need to find a way to kind of dissolve some of them. And I think if we used a few loops here, so if I add a loop around here, maybe let me flatten that out, change back the median point, the pivot point to median point, or you can use the shortcut full stop. You can use the full stop on your keyboard to access this menu, or just do it from here directly. So let me scale this back into a straight line. Now I need a way to bridge this here, so let's see how am I going to do that. And I think I need an extra loop for this side as well. Let me just straighten them so that they are on the same level, like that. And I think I can start by, let me see, just cutting this to this. Actually, we have an extra loop that comes from directly here, So what I can do to make this easier, I just select everything and turn that into an end gun that goes all the way, so that I can easily cut these into different, so that I can easily connect this. So I can connect this to this, and let me dissolve these vertices here or edges. Connect this to this. You may need to straighten this out a bit, like that. I think I can merge this to this, and for this part I can just connect this to this here, and for this here, let me select this. Let me see how I can maybe just connect this to this. I don't. Hey, let me select this here. Problem, we don't have this extra edge loop, and I don't want to add it there since it's not necessary. Can subdivide this and maybe push this vertex, connect this. Seems like we have some doubles here, so I'll just right click and merge vertices by distance to remove any doubles. You can increase the threshold. I think that may be a bit too much, so just to make sure, let me reduce it to maybe 0.5. Yeah, I think that's much better. Actually, I think that's good as well. I think we can dissolve. We can do this like so, and now we're only left with a few vertices here that we can push onto this side here. So let's see how we can approach that. Trying to reduce some of the triangles we have here. We can always come back and fix some of the issues we have here. And for this, let me see, let's see how are we going to, can select this edge, then merge the vertices like that, and now we can delete this side because we're going to be using the mirror modifier. That side, extrude this. Then connect this like this, and maybe this like that. I don't need that edge there. So then we can bring up the mirror modifier. Make sure you have clipping turned on. And I think so we are having an issue here. Okay, I think I forgot about the extrusion we had here. So or maybe the merge distance that I used to remove doubles was too high. So let me flatten everything back and then merge everything again. And we need to reduce the end gun size that is here. Maybe also add something like a few edge loops here. Maybe this can something like that. Let me try this here. Because of this edge being too close to this here, it's going to create a sharp area here. So I can rotate that a bit, give it some distance away from this edge here. think this has to connect directly here to this, so that we get that complete loop there. And this should also be a completely straight line like this. So this is what we have. Let me see. Seems our circle is a bit too small, so I think it's supposed to be something like that. And it's a bit rounded off, so Ctrl B to bevel this. You can use Shift N if you have some issues when you're trying to bevel, to recalculate your normals. That should remove any issues you have there. So let's see. I think this is not as deep, comes to about that distance, and this corner, this edge here is also a bit round, but we need to reduce the resolution of that. Make sure that the edge goes, the selection goes all the way. Bevel this. Turned on smooth shading. Now I can go. If you see this kind of shading here, try going under the object data and then under normals and turn on auto smooth at reduce the angle, the smooth angle like that. That should make things a bit better. And you see some of the areas have some funny shading as well. So to clear that, you can select this top part. Let's see if I can get it selected. Or let's just, you can add a loop, a kind of a supporting loop around here, so that should help with the shading. But make sure that this edge loop doesn't go all the way this side to this side, but kind of follows the same path like that. And we need to do the same here. See, now I think it looks better. If we added a subdivision surface, you can see how this looks almost like this. So we can add this center piece in, maybe the power button, and or we can come back to these smaller details later after we get the shape right. So let me kind of first remove, let me add on the y-axis mirror, and maybe let me do these handles. Let me move this a bit down. So for the handles, it's going to be very easy. You just start with a plane, rotate it 90 degrees so that it's facing us. And I also want it to center on this axis. So Shift A, cursor to selected, and then Shift A selection to cursor. So then scale it down to the length, to the size of this bar here. So maybe let me push it in the middle here so that it fits, something like that. Now let's see. I don't need this edge at the bottom. this. Center like that. Now to make this curve, we are going to make use of the bevel tool. Move this down. Make sure that I'm in the global axis. So let's bevel this. Ctrl Shift B to bevel the edges to get that rounded corner that you see there. If you scaled the mesh before, make sure you apply the scale, but if not, you can just do it directly, and you should have. Okay, so now that we have that, we need to give this a depth or circumference or that tube structure around it. So for that, let's first convert this into a curve. So go under Object, then Object, convert to Curve. Then under the curve options, you should go under Geometry and turn on depth. Increase the depth to something of the radius of our object here. Let me push it down a bit. Let me expand this a bit, just like that. They're going too deep, so I'll push them back up around there, and make sure that we are getting the radius right of our object. Now we need to kind of convert this back into a mesh. After that, we can use other modifiers, but I don't think that is going to be necessary, because we can continue using this as a curve, and there won't be any problems. Maybe let me also make sure that this fits in, and maybe we need to reduce the size a bit, like that. Now I'd like to preview how the final thing is going to look. So let me first hide everything here, go to shading, and I create a simple material just to see how this would look. Let me turn on small shading for this. I'll give this a chrome material. Let me bring back my reference images. Give it metallic and remove the roughness. And for this, you can give it simple white material. Turn on the ambient occlusion. Let's increase the distance a bit. Maybe accept light. Yeah, so in the next part, I'll start working on the front side of this, which is this part here. We'll see how to create this kind of greater structure here. So thank you for watching. Make sure you leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.